If you love the New York Giants and are not subscribed to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports, what are you doing? We're pumping out content almost daily around the latest Giants news and rumors. And in today's show, we are covering the additions to the Giants practice squad, 3 waiver wire additions, and some potential cut candidates. So if you want to stay up to date on everything surrounding the New York Giants, subscribe right now. You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and it is a big day for the New York Giants roster. They have made 3 waiver wire additions and have signed already 14 guys to their practice squad, and there are 3 potential cut candidates. But first, we're going to touch on the roster claims the New York Giants made today. And according to Field Yates, the Giants were the most active team on the waiver wire in the first round. And the first guy I want to bring up that was added to this roster is Justin Hilliard, the undrafted linebacker out of Ohio State. He played well for the San Francisco 49ers in the preseason. He had 14 tackles in the preseason. But I want to take a look back at his stats at Ohio State in the 2020 campaign. 33 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, and 1 interception. This is a guy that's going to be a special teams contributor for this Joe Judge-led New York Giants team, and I think he may even be able to crack some reps on the defense, but for now, I think he's predominantly going to be a special teams contributor. Next on this list, the second waiver wire addition, Collin Johnson, the former University of Texas wide receiver, the 6'6" wide receiver who has showed some playmaking ability in the NFL. Last year with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he had 18 receptions for 272 yards, 2 TDs, and a long of 46 yards. This is a big-bodied receiver that sometimes you just have to throw it up to him because he is so big and long. He's able to make those contested catches. But right now, after this claim of Johnson, the Giants are carrying 8 wide receivers on their depth chart, which is an extremely large number, and I expect to be axed down to 6 or 7. Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, those are the 3 big names in the Giants wide receiver depth chart. Kadarius Toney, obviously the first-round draft pick out of the University of Florida. Then you got guys like John Ross, C.J. Board, Dante Pettis, and now Collin Johnson. A little preview, one of these guys may be cut because he wasn't at practice today, but we will touch on that in just a few moments. The third signing from the waiver wire heading to New York, Quincy Roche, the 6th-round draft pick in the NFL draft. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, an edge rusher out of the University of Miami. Formerly, he played earlier before at Miami at Temple, and he is a sack machine, an edge rusher that has the traits and the skills to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. In 2020, he had 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 14.5 tackles for loss, and at his junior season at Temple, he had 13 sacks, and in his 45 career games at the collegiate level, he had 30.5 sacks. Hopefully he can come over to the New York Giants and flash those pass rush traits because that is what this Giants defense needs. They need another pass rusher, and hopefully they found a diamond in the rough with Quincy Roche. But I have a question for you guys. Go down in the comments and let me know who will have a bigger impact in 2021 with these Giants 3 waiver wire additions. If you think it'll be Justin Hilliard, go down in the comments and type your JH. If you think it's going to be Collin Johnson, the 6'6" wide receiver, go down in the comments and type CJ. And if you think it's going to be the edge rusher, Quincy Roche, go down in the comments and type QR. Some more New York Giants news. These 3 players were not at practice today. Wide receiver Dante Pettis, wide receiver C.J. Board, and linebacker Trent Harris. And why is this important? Because the Giants, they signed 3 players from the waiver wire earlier this morning, which means they need to make 3 cuts. And with these 3 guys not being at practice, there is rumblings and rumors that these 3 guys will be cut. It is already reported that C.J. Board has been cut, but according to Pat Leonard, Board was cut for a numbers game and will re-sign with the New York Giants. So it looks like Dante Pettis and Trent Harris most likely will be cut by the New York Giants as soon as today. The New York Giants practice squad is already filling out. They have signed already 14 players to their practice squad. Many of those players being guys that were on the Giants roster during the preseason and they were cut yesterday, but now they are back on the practice squad. And first, I want to take a look at the offensive linemen that the Giants are bringing back on the practice squad, guys that were on the roster as early as yesterday. Offensive lineman Brett Heggie, Kenny Wiggins, Jackson Barton, and Jake Barton. These were the young depth pieces on this Giants offensive line that were going to provide depth and backup reps if someone got hurt. But now all of these guys were cut, but they will be returning to this Giants practice squad, which means if there's an injury on the offensive line, one of these guys could be called up because the Giants are only carrying 8 offensive linemen. So this room and this position on the practice squad will be something to closely monitor. But let me know what you guys have to say about this. The Giants offensive line has been the talk of New York Giants training camp as well as into the NFL preseason. What is your confidence level in the New York Giants offensive line? Scale it using a 1 to 10. 1 being, I'm out, this line stinks, they're not going to be able to protect Daniel Jones, and Saquon Barkley is going to have a terrible year. Or scaling it using a 10 as if this is the best O-line in the NFL and Saquon Barkley is going to rush for 2,000 yards. Some more practice squad additions. David Sills. The Sills Army is back. He is back in New York, but he is on the practice squad. One of the most surprising cuts from yesterday's cut day. Sills, he flashed in the preseason. He had 7 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown, and he absolutely dominated in practice. Sills is a big receiver, 6'3". He's someone that can stretch the sideline and can be a reliable pass catcher over the middle. So I was extremely shocked to see Sills back, and I thought after he was released and put on waivers, he may get claimed by another NFL team. But luckily, he did not, and he will be a part of this New York Giants practice squad. Another wide receiver / DB hybrid, Matt Cole, a fan favorite. He played both ways in the preseason because of injuries in the Giants' defensive back depth chart. This guy is someone that did everything he can to earn a roster spot on this New York Giants team. Unluckily for him, he was not able to do so, but he will be back and a part of this Giants practice squad. Damian Willis, the big play receiver, the guy who caught the Hail Mary in the preseason, just someone that's a big play receiver and able to get open and catch the ball downfield. The Giants, they do now have 8 people on their Giants depth chart, so it was tough for him or a guy like David Sills to make the roster, but the Giants are bringing him back on the practice squad because they do like his upside and potential. Moving on, more practice squad additions. David Moa, the defensive tackle, another big surprise cut coming out of yesterday. He absolutely dominated in the preseason. He is a big body that's able to soak up blockers and hog blockers and get those blockers off of the middle linebackers and off-ball linebackers. This is someone that I was expecting to make this New York Giants team and was expecting to even possibly get picked up in the waiver wire, but he will be back in New York. And then the 3 tight ends that the Giants signed to the practice squad: Ryan Izzo, Nakia Griffin-Stewart, and Jake Houseman. I want to look at this New York Giants tight end depth chart because there are only 3 guys on this roster, and Evan Ingram is currently dealing with a calf injury. So with week 1 just around the corner and Kyle Rudolph just coming off of the PUP list last week due to off-season surgery, I'm concerned about this room. And with there being 3 guys on this roster and the Giants signing 3 more players to their practice squad, some of those players could be called up as early as week 1. 2 more Giants practice squad additions came in late, right before we started filming this video. The running back Dexter Williams, he was a part of the Green Bay Packers last year. Didn't play too much, 2 carries for 8 yards, but he was a contributor at Notre Dame. This is a guy that could contribute for the New York Giants if an injury happens in the New York Giants running back room. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Booker, and Gary Brightwell, they are carrying just 3 running backs. So if an injury happens, expect for Williams to be called up and maybe even be a productive back. The last New York Giants practice squad addition that we have so far, Chris Myrick, the tight end out of Temple. He did not play in 2019. He did play in just 3 games, in 2020. This is a depth piece. This is the 4th tight end that the Giants have on their practice squad. They do just have 3 active tight ends on their roster, so this is a position group to closely monitor. And if you made it all the way to this point in the video, I know that you are a New York Giants die-hard fan, And I want to know more about you guys that are watching these videos. So go down in the comments and let me know. I'm extremely curious. Who is your favorite Giant of all time? And don't say Eli Manning, because he's my favorite of all time, and that is the easy answer. I want to get to know what you guys like and love about this New York Giants franchise. So go down in the comments and let me know who is your favorite Giants player of all time.